Good afternoon, everybody. This is Harold with Untouchable Trucking Insurance, and this is George with HCM, Compliance DOT, and we're here. We're going to talk about a subject that just keeps coming up, and that subject we're talking about is trailer coverage. Is your trailer covered under trailer interchange or non-owned trailer? Or do you own the trailer? There's several different types of coverages. And if you don't understand those different things, you can end up having a claim against you that you're going to have to pay out of your own pocket. And my job as being an insurance agent is to make sure you don't have to pay a claim. So George had some questions about this, and we're going to walk through it and see if we can help you understand it the best possible way. And if you have any questions, you can always send a note to us on our podcast, and we'll respond back to it.
Yeah, hey everybody, how you doing? Harold, thank you for the great introduction. As everyone should know, my name is George. I am with HCM Integrity Service. We are a FMCSA and DOT compliance center. But me and Harold are your hosts for the Truth in Trucking podcast, and we try to help everyone stay informed with a lot of the things that are going on. We try to give you the voice of the truckers and the things that are really going on here in the trenches, because a lot of the things you see out there in social media with these YouTubers and other podcasters and other social media platforms, they're just grabbing attention and trying to get engagement, but they're not really giving you the knowledge and information you need so you can have your finger on the pulse, per se, on what's going on in the industry and how to stay successful, how to stay in business and make sure you're doing the right thing. And like Harold said, big confusion with trailer interchange, non-owned trailer, owned trailer,
And own trailer.
and owned trailer, when you need it, when it's going to cover you or your customer and who it's going to cover and things like that. Because I've always heard of trailer interchange. That's something we've had before. When I was running trucks, we had that with certain customers. Of course, I wasn't in that part of the department for that company. We had someone else on charge of that, but I always thought that trailer interchange would cover, our trailer if a carrier picked it up and had to deliver the load that was on there for us, or if our truck had to pick up a customer's trailer and deliver the load for them. So, what will trailer interchange cover me if it's my trailer? Will it cover my trailer if a carrier picks it up?
Well, back about a year and a half ago, a lot of the companies, the insurance companies, were people trying to sue them because they weren't covering their trailer interchange. And the situation with trailer interchange, you have to have an agreement with that particular carrier or vendor that you're going to move cargo for. You have to have an agreement, and it has to be stated in the agreement that you're required to have trailer interchange, and it will even tell you the amount of coverage. Now, just because I know right off the top of my head, and Amazon's a pretty big company, Amazon requires you to have a $50,000 worth of coverage on a trailer interchange. And so what you're doing is, if that trailer gets damaged, they're going to go and they're going to pay for that trailer. That's what trailer interchange. But you have to have an agreement with Amazon. Now, if you're going to pull for multiple people, maybe someone else you have an agreement on, and we just had this, George and I, a mutual client, We just had this happen to us not too long ago, and I sold the gentleman insurance, and I told him, do you need non-owned trailer? He says, no. He says, I have trailer interchange. I need trailer interchange. And we put trailer interchange. In fact, we increased his coverage because he was looking for more coverage on it. So what that means, non-owned trailer, you don't have to have an agreement. It doesn't have to be in writing. It's you're hauling someone else's trailer. That's what non-owned trailer is. You don't own that trailer. Trailer interchange, you still don't own that trailer, but you have to have a written agreement with whoever you're hauling from. So if you're hauling for UPS, if you're hauling for Amazon, they all require you to have trailer interchange.
That's right. Guys, fact check them, because this is my friend Harold, and I don't gotta fact check him because I know that 99% of the time, because hey, I'm not always right either, so
Speak by yourself.
But listen, this is my friend here, so I know most of the time, like 99%, he is giving you the truth, and so fact check him, and you know what? I fact checked him for you, but you go ahead and do it. And right here it says it just like he said. Trailer interchange is a specific coverage required by an interchange agreement or contract. The non-owned is not. You don't need to have it on a agreement, right?
You don't need to have an agreement for it. Now, this mutual customer that we have, it says in their agreement that they have with that company that he needs non-owned trailer. So the situation is,
so if the agreement says you need to have non-owned, then
you have to have non-owned too as well.
So this is where I'm confused, guys, and I don't know if many of you are confused, and I might drive Harold crazy because he knows this, but sometimes people don't. We don't all know this like he does. So, is it a good idea then to have both, non-owned? Do I need to have both, or should I have both?
Because if you're gonna haul for multiple companies, and you're gonna haul for, like it says for Amazon requires you to have that trailer interchange. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. UPS, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to have the trailer interchange. But there's sometimes you're gonna haul trailers. You're gonna pull in, pick up a trailer, and you're gonna pull it out. But if you don't have coverage for that trailer and you damage it, you're gonna pay for that. And this guy, was it $70,000 or something he's paying for that trailer? Yeah, 80, 70, 60, $70,000 for that trailer. I mean, if you all got $60,000, $70,000 in your back pocket and you just willing to give it to someone else because your driver rolled a trailer over and damaged it, then that's what you should do. But if you don't have that, or you don't want to have that risk, you have that coverage on that trailer.
Yeah, I think you should probably get both to cover your butt. The reason I say that is because this particular customer that we're discussing, the company he was doing the trailer interchange for,
had an agreement with it.
Had an agreement for non-owned.
It said non-own in it. So if it says non-own in it, and you just have trailer interchange, guess what? If you have trailer interchange and they're requesting you to have non-owned, that means that trailer interchange is not going to cover your non-owned coverage.
And so something happened, and there was a claim, and the claim adjuster for another insurance company who's well known for not wanting to pay claims anyways, but their argument for not paying the claim was that he could not produce having non-owned trailer coverage. And so, guys, there's two people at fault here, and I don't know if you were listening and understood, but I get confused. But if you were listening, you would see that two people failed here. Two people did a bad job. One, our customer, a carrier, because he didn't read the contract. He should have read it, and he would have saw that he needed to have non-owned.
And just to interrupt there for a second, because I'm so familiar with this, I even went to the customer and says, do you need non-owned trailer? Oh, no. I just need trailer interchange. So listen, I'm going to tell you what you need, If you're going to tell me and you're going to say I don't need non-owned trailer, well, I'm not going to sell you non-owned trailer. I will advise you that you would need, and I did advise this particular client that he should look into non-owned trailer, because if he's going to haul for other people, the trailer interchange will not cover it. Now, I'm going to put a little twist to it. What happens sometimes, there are some insurance carriers that look at it and say, listen, they'll cover both non-owned trailer and non-owned trailer under the same policy. There's only one or two companies that do that. And I don't want to sit there and put them out there because I don't want to get in trouble with them, because, maybe right now their underwriting rules change and maybe they're trying to charge more money for it now. But as of what I'm aware of right now, two of the companies I've sold business through both have non-owned trailer and trailer interchange as coverage. You got to remember something. Non-owned trailer and trailer interchange is just physical damage for the trailer. So it's just like when you put physical damage on your truck, you're putting physical damage on the trailer. So now you have one more coverage. You have what they call owned trailer. So if you own a trailer, now you have the right to sit there and put insurance on your trailer, or you don't want to put insurance on your trailer. If you roll your trailer and you destroy it, that's on you. You have to, suffer those consequences. But you actually have the trailer that you own, which is part of your physical damage, and the physical damage for the non-owned trailer and the trailer interchange is for Amazon or whoever the other person you're hauling their trailers from. If George has a trailer that I borrow from George and I have non-owned trailer and I roll that trailer, guess what? They're going to pay for that damage for that truck. Now, if I'm hauling George's trailer, I have trailer interchange, and George gives me his trailer, and George, oh, man, you wrecked my trailer. I need, you got to help me get a new trailer back or help me pay for it or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And he's even willing to take some of the risk. But on the other hand, my trailer interchange is not going to cover George's trailer because we do not have an agreement between each other for trailer interchange.
And so the other fault, what I was trying to tell you guys earlier, was the carrier or the company that was giving our customer the trailer, because even though it was their agreement and they gave it to him and he had to read the agreement and make sure he had his non-owned trailer coverage, the person, and this is for you companies out there who have someone in their safety department or their insurance department or what have you, you have to make sure that the company you're hiring or doing business with has that coverage. Because had they done their due diligence, they would have asked for our customer to provide proof that they had the coverage that's in the agreement, which would be the non-owned trailer agreement. Now, I think they're both at fault. I'm not, I'm sure there's some of you out there say, well, that's not our fault. You got to read the agreement and you got to comply. He should have done it. It's not. No, I think it's both their faults, because I've been on both sides. And if it was my company, I would tell my employee, you better make sure they have that coverage. Even though something happens, we're not liable, but still they need to have that coverage.
Well, I'll go.
And are they still liable? Would I still be liable even though they're not covered per our agreement?
That's for judge to decide. I mean,
or the lawyers to.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like when you get in a car accident, you're like in the state of Florida, no one's at fault. So, and when you start suing each other, everybody's determining what percentage you're at fault and how much one person has to pay versus the other person has to pay. But that all being said, when you have that particular situation and you want to take it to court, it's in the agreement, and we give them, and that company asked us for a certificate of insurance. On that certificate of insurance, it shows trailer interchange. It did not say non-owned trailer on it. So just like George is saying, who's at fault? Listen, the guy complied. He actually even increased his coverage on the trailer interchange, and he gave him the certificate of insurance. But the guy, again, someone who's not an insurance expert that's looking over everything, is saying, "Oh yeah, you got coverage on the trailer." He doesn't have coverage on the trailer. He only has cover on a trailer that has a contractual agreement, where a non-owned trailer does not require a contractual agreement. Most of the times, I will recommend my clients to get non-owned trailer, unless I know for a fact that they're going to be hiring for Amazon, because Amazon, I already know what Amazon's requirements are. So not trying to throw Amazon back out there, but they're one of the biggest people out there using all these truck drivers and hauling trailers. So that being said, non-owned trailer is with no agreement or anything. Now, if they put it in an agreement, say you have to have non-owned trailer, you need non-owned trailer. And if he says a trailer interchange, if that guy's wording changed to trailer interchange, it would have been covered. It just depends. Now, he said this and she said that. That's where we're at that point. And like George says, who's at fault? They're both at fault. Because the other company that was renting the trailer out did not read or did not understand the difference between the two insurances.
Yeah. So if that's my goods in that trailer, I'm the owner of the product or the goods in the trailer, and I file a claim. Can I file a claim on? Well, I would probably file a claim on you because I gave you my goods. Now I'm going to file against you, but then you're going to turn around and file against.
Okay.
So
what you're doing right now, you're mixing different insurance coverages.
Okay.
You're mixing your cargo insurance.
Okay.
With your physical damage.
So what is the trailer interchange and non-owned trailer covers?
Physical damage. It's the physical damage to the trailer.
Okay.
So especially if you got a brand new reefer unit you're hauling for somebody, hey, what's that reefer unit cost? $120,000.
Okay, so that would cover if some old lady runs into you or runs into your trailer, or if you're turning and you knock over a palm tree and damage the trailer.
It's the damage to the trailer. It's physical damage to the trailer.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with the cargo. Now,
Okay.
I will tell you that a lot of times, depending on who you're writing this with, it usually will fall under their cargo insurance. It will be part of their cargo insurance.
So if it's my trailer, you're renting it for me, but you gave it to a carrier to do a load, and you damage my trailer, as the owner of the trailer, do I go after both?
The attorney's going to go after both. But if you gave me the trailer, right? If you gave me the trailer and I gave it to someone else, shame on me. It's my fault.
Right. I'm going to come to you, and then you're going to go to them.
Because if you're a trucking company and you have coverage for a non-owned trailer, and you give it to someone else that's not under your DOT, and you did not do the endorsements to add the additional person on under your DOT, which means you would have to pay auto liability, you would have to pay physical damage if the guy wants physical damage on his truck. If it's your truck, you're definitely probably going to put physical damage on. But the bottom line is, this guy's got your trailer. He damaged the trailer. This guy, you're going to sue, me. I'm going to sue him. And you're in court for 2 or 3 years. So.
Wow. Okay. And that's even if I know, because something happened to the trailer, you might not even tell me. You might just get it fixed between you and that company, and just say,
oh, you can say he, she, whatever it did it, but that's the main thing that people don't understand about the difference of those two coverages. Do you need both of them? Like I said, there's a couple of companies out there that do both. If you do the one with the big P on it, they have actually separate coverages. It's usually identically the same amount of money for both. So if it's $1,800 for one, it's going to be $1,800 for the other.
wow.
So that being said,
That's all. Any other questions about trailer interchange or trailer coverage?
No, that's I think I got it, guys. Anyone out there with their own experience on claims and issues they've had with trailer interchange and non-owned trailer interchange, we'd love to hear it in the comments below. If you guys like what you heard today and you got something, you took something, some knowledge, it helped you, please like and subscribe to our channel. We're always going to have great podcasts with a lot of information, and we do want to make sure that everyone's voices are heard, even the small guys. So if there's anyone out there that thinks that there's something we need to talk about, an issue that you guys want to hear, something you need clarification on, just leave it in the comments, message us, and we'll be more than happy to go over it and find out what we can, so we can give you the truth in trucking.
Well, that's a big 10-4.